Happy Thursday. I hope all is going well for you. Can I tell you the time that it takes to set up the things before you go live and then you're still looking at things or before you're doing a podcast taping until you have one of those permanent setups, right? If you don't know who I am, my name is Devi Maisha and I am the Central Energy Alchemist. I'm a master life coach and teacher of Central Energy Alchemy, and my business, Central Energy Alchemy. Good morning. Uh, Connects Black women to their sensual confidence so that they can show up bold and powerful in life, business, and love. And this morning, I want to talk about what would it take for you to be seen. And this isn't about you splashing yourself all over the internet or in the public, which I think is what a lot of folks think of when it comes to being seen. But being seen is about more than that. Being seen is about being seen for who you actually are. And as Black women, as Black people, we have, many of us have grown up with the idea of this kind of be seen and not heard, which is the same thing as not being seen. You're not really acknowledged, just be there and be quiet. We go into these institutions of learning where we learn how to be very good students, very quiet students. You get accolades when you're quiet. And then we enter into life and into careers and relationships where we don't allow ourselves to be fully seen. Add to that the intergenerational lessons that we've learned and experiences that we've had that say it is not safe to be seen. But then how does this affect our lives and our businesses? How does this affect the relationships that we go into when we're holding pieces of ourselves back in an effort to be accepted? This morning his name escapes me right now, but there's this guy I've been listening to on YouTube who actually has some really great videos. David Bayer. And this morning I was listening to a video where he was breaking down four components to why we have resistance to change. If you have like limiting beliefs and things, why things don't shift in your life. And one of the four that he mentioned was our core conditioning. And so I spent some time this morning looking at my core conditioning, and not with his framework. I'm not in his group. Go to his group, look him up and access his work. But for my own self, I thought that was a good inquiry. And so I started looking at my core conditioning. And I suspect that it is similar to a lot of other people's core conditioning, and that we have a fear of rejection. We don't, first of all, no one wants to be rejected, right? And in order to be accepted, though, if we chose the route of acceptance, what did we have to do? What parts of ourselves did we have to let go of, cut off, hide, so that we could be accepted? When did we learn that it was not okay to be seen? So then we show up in relationships as half ourselves, if that, maybe a quarter of ourselves, but you can't hide it for too long. Eventually it comes out. We go into businesses or our careers certainly not being seen, because that's just a recipe. If you want to climb the corporate ladder, you have to play the corporate game. You have to show up in a way that the white inferiority complex desires. And so for sure, you cannot be seen in that way. Well, so now maybe you've left those structures and now here you are wanting to build a business, but still carrying with you the legacy of it is not safe to be seen. Yet to build your business, unless you're doing one of those faceless things, but yet to build your business requires you to show up, requires you to acknowledge the parts of yourself that weren't seen. And here's why: because if you are running a business, you are a CEO, eventually those are the parts of you are going to come out in staff meetings, dealing with your employees, your collaborations. It's going to come out. Or you're going to expend so much of your life force energy continuing to hide the truth of who you are that it will create bankruptcy within your body. So what would it take for you to feel safe enough to show up and be seen? Good morning. What needs to happen in your life, especially as a Black woman, to be seen? There are still Black women who the idea of their natural hair is still, oh my God. Like we are still in the space where to let that, and I'm not, this is not a judgment thing, but it's just an example. We are still in a space where to let even that be seen requires so much courage. We are still in a space where religious and cultural conditioning have taught us to play small to the point where to show up and be seen requires so much courage. And we are still dealing with, especially those of us who have been in the high achieving spaces, we are still dealing with the indoctrination of the white inferiority complex, which automatically states that we are not enough and not good enough. What if, I love the what if questions. What if we didn't play by those rules? What if we built our businesses and crafted our relationships based on the vibrant passion that exists within us? Would we make the money as quickly? Maybe not. I don't know. Would we rise as fast? I don't know. Would we be free? Free. Can you imagine building a whole persona and a structure based on acceptance, and then feeling the pull to let that go and the anxiety and fear of all of that crumbling and all of the questions of identity that would come up with that? This was not where I intended to take this conversation when I thought about it this morning, when it came to me this morning, but here we are. I was really just kind of talk about your visibility. But when you think about it, when we think about imposter syndrome, and people are like, imposter syndrome is this where you think that you're showing up as something and you're not really acknowledging your gifts. But what if part of imposter syndrome is that you're just showing up as someone you're absolutely not, in an effort to fit in and assimilate into something, but it's just not the truth of who you are. And now you don't know, because it's incongruent and it's not in alignment, but you don't know now how to show up because everyone has an expectation of you. But you know it's not true. You feel it in your body. What would it take for you to allow yourself to be seen as who you are, right? The wholeness. Thank you. Good morning. That's the question I really have for you today. Because see, my work is not fluffy. It's about results. But it's about your freedom. And everybody doesn't want that. They really don't. Because freedom carries with it a heavy weight of responsibility. I look at us as Black women and I look at how we are such good students, and I look at how we are often seeking approval and how we are making sure that we get everything right. And I want you to understand that part of the reason that we do that is because of the indoctrination into this white inferiority complex that tells us that we are not good enough. We are not enough. We must absolutely play this game and play it better. That's that whole must work twice as hard to get half as much thing, which my parents never told me. And I'm grateful for that. But because that has been put in our minds, there is no room for error, which means there's no room for us to be fully free. So where does pleasure come into all this? Because I'm going to always bring it back to the body and pleasure, because for many of us, if we're not showing up and being seen in other places, we are damn sure not showing up in the bedroom as free as we can. And really, I believe that when we allow ourselves to be the noisiest of noisy and allow our bodies to react fully and full abandon without worrying about what it looks like, when we let ourselves go like that, the whole world opens up to us. When we're not allowing ourselves to be kind of moved around like some kind of rag doll that's being positioned, there is a freedom that comes that no one can ever take from you. But I can, like, I know my name is Maisha. I can almost guarantee that if you are performative and showing up in the world the way you think others need you to be seen, especially the way the white inferiority complex requires you to show up as, I can guarantee you are most likely performative in the bedroom. Faking orgasms, making sounds that seem like you're enjoying yourself, and somewhere in your mind, you've just decided that this is just what it is. This is the price of being a Black woman in America. And I, with every fiber of my being, will never subscribe to that. So what will it take for you to be seen? Courage, for sure. Dealing with the expectations of others and navigating how everyone else wants you to show up, how everyone else wants you to be in business, how everyone else wants you to be in parenting or as a partner or as a friend. What if you colored outside the lines? What if you didn't cross a T or dot an I? What if? And what if you had the tools to navigate all of that so you could be free? Now, this is not, look, there are some of us who are just like, I don't even know what she's talking about. I'm perfectly fine where I am. And that's cool. I mean, be where you are at. There are some of you who will listen to this and go, oh, that's an interesting message, but no. Hey, I mean, when I say this, it's not sarcastically. If you like it, I really do love it for you. But if you're a woman who feels like there is a stirring and yearning in you that says, there's something else. There's a passion inside of me. There's an energy that wants to move through me, and I don't want to keep it chained, locked in. It is the essence of me. It is the energy of my foremothers that were not able to be as free. Well, then I'm talking to you, especially the Gen Xers, and shout out to I'm gonna get back to the Gen Xers in a minute. Now I gotta go get off here. It's already 14 minutes. Shout out to the millennials, because and with the younger millennials and the Gen Zers, because really what we see with them is is they are not going to play by the status quo or the rules. They are not interested in fitting into the white inferiority complex. And for those of us who are Gen X women who are like, we finally had an opportunity, because really time went by really fast. Like advancements in some ways went by so quickly. And our mothers could barely be secretaries, and some of them were still washing people's clothes and watching other children. And so we as Gen X women, we forged forward, we broke down the doors, we could get into all the places that they told us we couldn't go, and we were going to hold on to that because that's where the success was. That's all we knew was Dynasty and Falcon Crest and Dallas. That's what we knew. Of course we would go that way. But man, the younger millennials and Gen Zs are like, fuck all that. You will not make me swallow poison and force me to conform. And I know it rattles us sometimes as Gen Xers because we're like, I mean, we did the best we could. And that was the best we could do, right? That was a ticket. But now, what if you've spent 15 to 20 years doing all of that, and now it is time for you to let that go? Again, only if you feel the stirring in you. If you're perfectly happy with where you are, first of all, if you've been watching this long, then you feel the stirring and you might not even want to acknowledge it. But if you feel the stirring, like a beat, it's like Jumanji that says, I want to be free. I want to thrash about in the bed from orgasmic pleasure. I want to show up in the places and spaces and be fully myself. I don't want to have to shrink parts of me so that I can be acceptable. I don't want to play by respectability politics. Then I invite you to come into Money, Power, Respect, where you will learn some tools to navigate the becoming of you. Because as Black women, and I've had some Black men sign up too, especially the higher up you go, it becomes a lot more difficult to let some pieces of that go. And what I will say is that our suicide rates are rising. Why? When we have so much education and we've gone so far. And yes, racism and sexism and all of the isms play a part. But have we also maybe built ourselves now this kind of gilded cage that we feel like we can't ever get out of? Because who would we now be without it? So what if? In Money, Power, and Respect, I will give you some tools that can begin to help you navigate this process. It's 5 nights, so obviously we can't do everything in 5 nights, right? This is an ongoing process. But I will give you some things to think about and some things for you to contemplate in terms of you showing up. And especially if you're an entrepreneur and you have a business, how are you building your business? Are you building it in this narrow tunnel of this is all I can show up as? Because I tell you, when you actually free up the rest of that energy, it's a very different story. You can breathe. Yeah. All right. Good morning, everyone. Welcome. All right. That's it for today. Money, Power, Respect. It is free. It is 5 nights. We are doing it June 10th through the 14th. There will be some teaching. It will be experiential. I will tell you this now. If you are coming to kind of just like hang out, I invite you to register and then come into the Facebook group and watch the replays. Absolutely. They will be available for a limited amount of time. But I'm going to keep saying, if you show up live, I want you to be prepared, because so often we show up and we're just like in the back and we want to take notes so we can be a good student. I'm going to have you doing things that are going to utilize all of you And you'll get a chance to take notes too. I just want to prepare you in advance in case you've never experienced something like this before. But it's going to be so much fun. There's going to be music and laughter, and you are going to leave feeling like there's a part of you, like how you leave when you get out of a shower and you're just like, oh my God, yes. You will leave the 5 days feeling like that. So come on into Money, Power, Respect. It is free, June 10th to the 14th, 7 p.m. to 8 p.m. Eastern. The process has already started in the Facebook group. I have said it before, the event doesn't start the 10th. The event starts the moment you sign up and you go into the group and you begin. So if you're ready to be seen, then come on in. That is it for today. It is 20 minutes in. It is Thursday. It is Jupiter's day. It is the Wealth and Abundance Day. Since we are going into a new moon, it is a great time for you to start thinking about what do you want to release and let go of that is no longer serving you. It's a great time for that. I feel like I want to say something else, but it left my mind. Thank you for watching the replay. Thank you for listening to the podcast. If you're looking for these videos, you will find them all on my YouTube channel. Please go ahead and go subscribe. Sensual Energy Alchemy is the YouTube channel. Please go like, subscribe, share. All of these are in a playlist called Morning Pleasure Chat. You can find them there, or you can listen at your leisure on my podcast, which is The Sensual Blueprint. And you can find that in all of the places that podcasts exist. Thank you for being here live. I will see you back here tomorrow, Friday, Venus Day, Lover's Day at 10 a.m. Bye.